India's caste system is so extreme, it applies to the children, the women, the elders, as well as the men. Some of them look at it as though if you're born with dark skin and you're a child, they take a broom and drill a hole through the broom and put a string through the broom. And they hang the noose around the children's necks so that when they walk through the marketplace around light-skinned people and wealthy people and upper-class people, people outside of their caste system, they can sweep their footprints away. Because some of the Indians believe that it is a sin to literally touch a Dalit or a black person or so-called untouchable. So we're going to take and share with you a little clip of a testimony from an actual Dalit to give you some idea of what level this ignorance and ancient, racist, spooky, superstitious, religious bigotry dwells in. Let's look at this.
The first time I knew that I was inferior, I probably was 18 months old. I knew that we were untouchables. Untouchability means actually untouchability. You cannot touch them. Caste is a forced occupation based on your birth. When I first came to America, people treated me equally. In fact, even in the beginning, I used to feel, what if they touch me? They're going to be polluted. One time, a boyfriend of mine was eating from something that I already touched, and he was going there, and I said, no, stop! I touched it, and his heart broke. Like, you're not in India anymore. Hinduism more or less is an ideological religious prop for this social system that is caste. Brahma, the creator, the Brahmins are supposed to have come from the forehead, and the Kshatriyas from the arms, merchant caste from the thighs, service caste from legs. And untouchables are not part of any of Brahma, the creator. What makes them untouchable is they are assigned hereditary duties that are considered filthy and menial by the Indian society. Like the hardest jobs are theirs and the filthiest jobs are given to them. Based on these different occupations, there are about, in my area, 52 different subcastes within untouchability. And my family is called Mala. Mala means people who do agricultural labor. And there are others who do like removing dead animals, burning the dead people, and carrying away humans. My stories, my family stories, were not stories in India. They were just life. Your life is your caste is your life. At 26, I came to America, where people know only skin color. Only in talking to some friends I met here did I realize that my stories, my family stories, are not stories of shame. It's not healed. It is not healed.
So the concept of the Trinity, or three gods in the one, that's not new to the Hindu. The Hindu has 3,000 gods, 300,000 gods in one. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about the spiritual Hindus that study the spiritual science of Hinduism. I'm talking about those caught up in the trickology of the caste system, which is based on racism, sexism, and imperialism. All right? The messenger tells us about this supernatural plurality of God like this. He says, "In that day, this is the day, shall there be one Lord and his name one." Zechariah chapter 14, verse 9. This refers to the time when the true God is made manifest. Before his manifestation, the people worship what they think or what they want to be their God. The devil's teaching is a division of gods, 3 gods into 1 God. The Hindus have many gods. The Muslims worship one God, Allah. Say, He, Allah, is one God. Yet, 99% of the old world Muslims think that Allah is only a spirit, is not a man. Then they too need to be taught today the reality of Allah. Surah 22, Ayat 6. In the Holy Quran, Allahu ana al-haq, the God is nothing but the reality. Now, we don't hate Hindus. I had a neighbor a few years ago. Peace to Sunny. Now I mean, she's good sister. Now I mean, and real humble, spiritual, and she literally had a shrine in her home. Now I mean, and she had a humble heart, a good spirit. Now I mean, and she believed in Hinduism. Now I mean, we never argued over religion, but I explained to her the black man is God, and see in her country, dark-skinned guys like me, we would be considered the dollars, the untouchables. Know what I mean? And, you know, she start waking up. And then waking up, she start rebelling against that system. And that's what we got to do. Each one got to teach one. Now, I mean, we have to mentally resurrect our people no matter where they may be or where they may be from. Now, I mean, we have to teach them the reality of God. Now, I mean, in this great day and age of Messenger Elijah Muhammad's message that to guide our people through this age of mess. Now, Messenger Elijah Muhammad has very, 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 very harsh words or tones for the Hindus. Now, I mean, more than Jews or Christians or Catholics or Sunnis. Why is he so hard on these Hindus? He's not against the Hindus that believe that the black man's mind is God. There are Hindus that understand that concept, and I'll get into that later. There's a precept and a concept in their theology that basically teaches that the black man's mind is the supreme, but they got all these mystery gods. But the real issue is the Hindus' caste system. A lot of people in the wilderness of North America are not aware that there are people in India that if they was over here, they would be considered black. If they spoke English, you would think they was just black people. They come in different shades, pitch black to light skin, known as the Dalits or the so-called untouchables. Know what I mean? And they're beaten, they're raped, they're made to skin old dead cows and things of that nature. There, you know, it's just a horrific situation that they're living under. You know what I mean? You know, over 300 million of them like that. You know what I mean? So Master Muhammad personally did not mess with them Hindus. I'm not talking about the spiritual Hindus. I'm talking about the caste-orientated Hindus. So let's look at what the messenger says in Al Sayyid's Arab about that. The messenger says in Al Sayyid's Arab on page number 32, and I quote him, he says, "Where's that God?" He says, "Look up." "Where's that heaven?" He says, "Look up." I say, he's a very smart man to fool people by the hundreds and millions and whole nations and races. They don't question. They bow their heads and say, "Yes, sir," and go on with nothing. Say, "Where is that God?" No man knows. He doesn't even think to ask, "Well, what are you trying to teach me then?" He never asks any question, takes it and swallows it, hook, line, and sinker, no questions. Then you come and say, look, I have a little statue over here. I have a God. Oh, you should bow. What do you worship, mister? I worship God. Well, where is he? Oh, no man has ever seen him. And if no man has ever seen God at any time, then no man knows anything about the God. Well, you and I will come to some conclusion about this thing in a while. Hindus have been on this planet for untold ages. They are an original people. They are an original people. I mean, they are black. They are an original people. They have been here for a long, long time. For 35,000 years, they have been worshiping other than the real God. Think that over. But that's no time. After a while, we will learn that that is nothing. Just 35 days or 35 minutes to time. A long, long time. We're talking about gods today. I want you to have patience. God let the Hindu go astray and worship whatever he wants to. Today, you find the Hindu with more gods than he can mention. Everything is a god to the Hindu. He is far worse than any religious people you know of. He makes his God, and when he gets out of ideas how to make them, he starts worshiping himself. That's the Hindu. God was talking with me about these two people, the Christian and the Hindu. One day, he said, you know, brother, he called me brother. He said, there's a law among us, a ruling. He said, if the Hindu and the Christian are walking together, he said, kill the Hindu first, because the Hindu is more poison than the Christian, and he is. For 35,000 years, he has been believing in other than the real God. That's a long time. 29,000 years before the Christians. Think that over. This is the Messenger Teachings on the caste system of Hinduism.
Racism, George Floyd, and Black Lives Matter. But their messages of solidarity are being dismissed as hypocritical. This is probably why.
New Pond's White Beauty gives you a radiant pinkish white glow.
I get radiant fairness that lasts.
New White Perfect Day Cream from L'Oreal Paris.
Top Indian stars have either endorsed skin whitening products in the past or failed to condemn police brutality against minorities in their own country. Let's talk about the ads first. Ads like these portray fair-skinned women as confident and successful and reinforce regressive messages like dark-skinned women are stigmatized, shamed, and rejected by society. They are based on the idea of colorism, which experts say is the process of discrimination that privileges light-skinned people of color over their dark-skinned counterparts.
Fair and Lovely lightens the color of the skin in a natural and gentle way.
Really? Are Bollywood actors guilty of kind of promoting racism? It is like a yes and a no, because colorism is such a deep-rooted issue in our culture. Sometimes we don't even realize it exists. And so by endorsing a fairness product, they are actually promoting, they have not started the bias, but they are actually endorsing a bias that already exists.
India's skin lightening industry is worth billions of dollars. 90% of Indian women want to use whiteners because it is aspirational, like losing weight. And now men have also joined the bandwagon to become fair and handsome.
World's #1 Imami fair and handsome, क्योंकि मर्दों को चाहिए ज़्यादा.
With Bollywood celebs profiting from and endorsing these products, this skewed idea of fair and lovely is being reinforced. This year, the Indian government proposed a ban on ads that promote such dubious claims.
Should Bollywood actors stop doing, stop endorsing fairness products, because it does, in a sense, contribute towards racism in the world? I would again, say yes. It's high time. This is like a wake-up call to all of us. It's a wake-up call to think deeply about our own culture. And, think deeply about how we have endorsed colorism.
Indian-American comedian Hassan Minhaj also tore into Bollywood's hypocrisy for condemning racism while backing skin whitening creams.
Our Bollywood stars do skin whitening commercials so we don't look black. Thank you, Britain. It is bad to be black. in Desi culture.
But it isn't just the adverts. Bollywood has a history of dressing blackface and brownface in many films.
रंजीते बदला तो तू भी नहीं है अच्छा अच्छा हाँ पहले भी काला था और आज भी काला है
The characters are portrayed from poorer and disadvantaged backgrounds, further fueling discriminatory sentiments. But where does India's obsession with fair skin stem from? The answer lies in its history. Experts attribute it to the country's colonial past, when India was ruled and colonized by fair-skinned conquerors, creating an association among people that fair skin equals power. And during the British rule, this idea was formally entrenched into society. Others trace it back to the centuries-old caste system, an ancient Hindu socio-economic hierarchy. The idea that the higher up the caste ladder you are, the more privileged, powerful and fair-skinned you are, is pervasive in India.
Colorism is a global issue. But yes, in India, we are still battling the obsession with fair skin because it has become so much a part of our culture, so much of this toxic belief we've kind of absorbed into our system that we don't even realize sometimes that we have this bias.
Let me turn your attention to page number 26 of Al Says Arrive on the Reality of God to get us back to some basic fundamentals to lay out our premise. The messenger says in the chapter, I want to teach you, February 26, 1974, he says, yesterday you could not find me. I was so wrapped in the mist that people were trampling on me and they didn't know that I was down there in the mud. All praises due to Allah. Allah is all of us. Remember, Allah is all of us. But we have a supreme one that we can throw. But we have a supreme one that we can throw this name holy upon. He is Allah, the one over all of us, the most supreme one, the wisest one, the mightiest one, the one that sees and hears that which we can't see and hear. That is He. He is rooted in all of us. Every righteous person is a God. We are all God. When we say Allah, we mean every righteous person. Allah teaches me that He is a man, not something that is other than man. The Holy Quran refers to him in such pronouns as he and as we and as us. There are so many of us who are ready to argue and dispute about the God. If you don't believe that he is a man, then bring me the one that you represent. You say, I don't believe in God being a man. What do you believe in? Show me what you believe in. I can show you my God. Show me yours. On the day of resurrection, the Bible and the Holy Quran teaches us that we will be brought face to face with the true God, the evil and the good one. This is going on today, my friends. If I preach to you that the white race is the devil, then where is the good God? If this is the evil God, then where is the good one? If you tell me that he doesn't have any form, then I say, how in the world can you prove to me that you are making me acquainted with a God? How can I see nothing? Some enemies of the true God, the visible God, have deceived you and are making you think that there is no such thing as a visible God. I want to say to you, my friends, if you don't have one that is visible, see Allah the visible way. Now, those of you that's worshiping energy, the mind, worshiping alcoholic, the creator, that's what the Hindus started doing. It's not that the premise doesn't have validity. The message teaches us, the message of the black man, we always believed in that ultimate source, that supreme existence. Now, I mean, we understand that there's more to the physical than the physical. There is the material and the immaterial. There's the atomic essence of man or woman, and there is the energy. there is the brain and there's the mind. There's the light bulb and there's the energy. But we get confused when it comes to like electricity and power and joules and force. And I mean, it's because we're speaking English. We're speaking a bastard language. So the stuff intertwines and overlaps, contradicts itself. So that's what really confuses us sometimes. So the Hindus, they believed God was man. They believed God was woman. But then they start like God is the animals. God is the plants. God is the celestial bodies. God is the atoms. God is the energy. God is the word. I mean, and they start getting so many gods, you can't even count all the gods of the Hindus to this day. They got so many different branches of Hinduism. You start scratching your head as to what is Hinduism? What is the ancient teaching? What is the original teachings of Hinduism? Now, I mean, I want to simplify. Krishna, as we know it, India as we know it. Now, I mean, the message teaches us dates back to 35,000 years ago. Now, think about that for a moment. This is before Yakub or the white race on the planet Earth. This is before the scientist that wrote this cycle of 25,000 years was able to write the cycle. This is 35,000 years ago. The message teaches us that no scientist is able to study what the other God wrote in his science or his cipher before him that predates him. So the scientists that lived, say, 60,000 years ago, we had hints and nods of their God wisdom, their Hakimi, but we don't have that information. What makes Master Fard Muhammad the supreme, the Malikiyah, the master, is he was able to study his father and the 23 scientists, all 24 of the scientists, the 12 major and the 12 minor scientists, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, as well as studying the secret vaults of Mecca, as well as have his father go and study the ancient teachings of Hinduism and come back and teach Master Fard Muhammad the original teachings of Hinduism. He was able to go study the ancient teachings of Buddhism. He was able to go study the ancient teachings of Jainism. He went to Africa. He even learned the language of the birds. He extrapolated the language of the people of Mars that lived 1,200 Earth years before our present moon 66 trillion years ago. Now, I mean, there were human beings, so-called aliens, on Mars, but those aliens did not come to Earth and mix their DNA with us. Those aliens or those foreigners on that planet or any of the 7 planets were considered lesser gods than the black man and black woman and black children right here on the face of the planet Earth. Our position and constitution and our nature is such that we're saying humbly that there is no God anywhere in the past, present, or future universe or any future universes that is superior than the black man on the face of the planet Earth that you know of in 2023. None whatsoever. So we simplify it, whether you call it the Most High, Yahweh, God, Buddha, Krishna, whatever. We simplify just like the black man is God. God is all of us. It's like, yes, there is a creative force. There is a mind. Even though we say minds with an S, it's really just one mind, one creator, one universe. I mean, no matter what part it is, no matter what past, present, or future cycle you're studying, it's all the exact time, space doesn't exist to the gods. I mean, but the thing that you cannot do in 2023 that they could not do 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, or the Hindus could not do 35,000 years ago, is produce a God superior than the black man. You can physically kill the black man. You can kill the angels of Allah physically, but you cannot destroy the black man. You cannot destroy the mind, the spark. You cannot change the law of causation. Everything you do will simply be an effect of that which the original man, the black man, the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, sparked. So I don't care what period, what civilization it was, whether it was before the land broke up into 7 continents of Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Australia, and Europe, or before they all was all combined into one, known as Asia, Pangea, whatever nomenclature or scientific terminology, depending on what period you're talking about, it was all talking about the melanated people, the people of the sun, the dominated people. We produced all of the effects that you see in every civilization on the planet Earth. It's just that sometimes those civilizations would rise and fall so fast, some would last a long time, as you would call it. But over the course of 76 trillion years, we do not waste our time trying to find a beginning of the black man. We can't comprehend an end to the black man. We can comprehend a physical end to our so-called death because we have a so-called birth. But to the scientists, to those that think about it, it's like, how can you really say you're the Alpha and Omega? You can say you're Alpha and Omega. You're the beginning and ending of it. I mean, if you want to look at something, look at you. If you want to see the beginning, look at you. You want to see the end, look at you. Your beginning is your ending. Your ending is your beginning. The said Nation Islam has no birth record, has no beginning nor ending. You see? So the concept of God start getting mixed up by the high priests, the ministers, the wazirs, the rabbis, the emirs, the priesthood, if you will. And for the right price, I mean, 2.5% sadaqah, zakat, charity, your tithes, your donations, whatever way you want to put it, you take and give them some money. You give them some gold, you give them some silver, you give them some services, you give them products, food, clothing, whatever. Your ability to do that allowed them, some of them, to come up with concepts that keep you giving to God, which really was giving to them. And that's what the problem became. Because now you got these rich priests, rich wazirs, ministers, rich Uzbazis, captains. You got these rich Katimi secretaries. You got these rich lieutenants, that started out with sincere niyats or intentions, but because of the money and the politics and the bloodlines, they started becoming aristocrats. They started becoming tyrants and dictators. They started using compulsion and force and threats and coercion to get you to believe in the teachings of God. They's like, oh, you if you don't do this, you're going to hell. I mean, if you're not with us, you're against us. I mean, it's like a gang mentality. They became bullies. And a lot of people is scared of bullies. But you can't be afraid of a whipping. See, one thing that wakes a bully up is you come to him humbly and you punch him right in the face. Boom! And they be like, this talking to this. And the bully might beat you down. But what you doing is you letting the bully know, I don't fear no one but the law. See, the bully is not going to be able to bully you because your thing is, I know how to stop a bully. I may stop myself in stopping that bully, but I'm not afraid to give all I have and all of my power to see this day for which I have waited 76 trillion years for. I mean, who am I, little Alif, not to give my all for the life-giving teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad? The devil like, Joker, we going to put you in for 30 years. Like, man, that's corny. That ain't about nothing. That ain't about nothing. Well, we going to put you in the hole. That ain't about nothing. We going to slant. That ain't, listen, you can never imagine a weapon that can pierce the armor of God. I got the consciousness of Master Fard Muhammad. You're weak and you don't even exist on this plane. All I simply do, as the message said, he said, they just fold their arms. I put you on a pay, like my brain are literally like, she and he poof, don't exist in my reality no more. What? They don't even exist. Now, if I look at it as a problem, elementary, solve the problem. It won't take 10 years. I'll solve the problem before the sun sets, the problem solved. That ain't about nothing. But out of the love for our people, we can't have anarchy and Jacob's law of divide and conquer in the ranks, because Satan, casting out Satan, how can his kingdom stand? If the angels is warring with the angels in heaven, how can the kingdom of God stand? It's like, yo, the ones who suffer are the same ones that we're obligated to rise up or mentally resurrect. So what you got to do, you got to be like, for the love of the nation, for the love of the brotherhood, the love of the sisterhood, the love of our people, we're not going to war with the Hindus. We're going to respect their temples. So the Holy Quran teaches us, do not, if you Muslim, don't tear down a church or a synagogue. Would you have them tear down the mosque? Imagine some Jews, some neo-Nazis destroying Mosque Marianne. It'd be chaos. It'd be a long, protracted, cold and hot war. I mean, it'd be chaos. Now, I mean, nobody would win. Look at the Jews and Palestinians. They can't presently find a way to make peace right now. Ultimately, they will. Now, I mean, but once the Hindus started associating partners with Allah, the black man, problems began. So let's look at what the messenger goes on to say about this war of gods, about these Hindus, and how symbolic Hindus exist in the nation of Islam in 2023. All right. He tells us on page 115. And before I read page 115, like I said, I like to give you the actual source. I don't like be like, Elijah Muhammad said this. I want you to get it in context so you can look it up yourself. Never take anything that the ministers say hook, line, and sinker. You piece it apart. All right. This is part 6 of Theology of Time, July 9th, 1972. All right. Page number 115. The messenger goes on. He says, and I'm quoting him, those old ancient Hindus who are fighting over there against American Christianity, Allah put them to fighting because he doesn't want either one. So he let America, the Christians, kill Hindus all they want, and then the Hindu will be killing her too. But they probably will not win. However, let them kill each other because we don't want either one. Notice how quiet the Muslims act in this war. You never hear him telling no Muslim to go to war to defend either side because they don't want either one of them, Christian nor Hindu. A Hindu is one of the oldest enemies of God or man. You're running away talking about our people are killing our people just because he looks like you. They've been on this planet for 35,000 years trying to destroy God and the religion Islam. Do you see a Muslim in the work of my God that I could get to take one of these bombs in one of these planes, then fly over their territory? I will show you how long they will be here. There may be some Hindu believers in here, but I don't care. Yes, I'd fly over your territory and kill every one of you if I could. If you are here, I don't love you myself. I don't care if America kills all of you and you kill them too. I don't love either one of you. Oh, will. Think over the prophecy, looking at it. Oh, will. Looking dreadful while loaded up with bombs to rain on America. God told me that he makes one swoops across America and America will be all but finished off. Just 3 of these bombing planes are to go to England. That'll be the end of England. Just one of these bombs will take care of her islands. That's all. It will go on the earth 1 mile, which should bring up a mountain for a mile high and kill the civilization for 50 square miles around it. Oh, brother, don't come trying to make war with God. It's a dangerous thing to do. This is a dangerous thing to do, this war to gods. See, in antiquity, remember, we're not talking Hindus like red Indians and the Hindus you see today. We're talking 35,000 years ago. We're talking about Hindus. Say, when we talk about Muslims, we're not talking about Sunni Muslims. We're not talking about Pakistan. All Pakistanis, them Muslims, the message of the thing is those Muslims are spooky, the Hindus are spooky, the Jews are spooky, the Hebrews are spooky, the Christians are spooky, the Catholics, all that is organized religion. That's not what we're talking about. The messenger's talking antiquity. In antiquity, 35,000, let's mentally go back in time for a moment. If you mentally can imagine being in the heart of India 35,000 years ago, and say you have a 6'1" Indian Hindu and a 6'1" Muslim black man, African, if you will, and they're standing in front of each other. They'll basically look like twins. They look just alike. They're the exact same people genetically, but they have polar opposite ideas in theology and cosmology. The black man is God, but the Hindu man is also God. The black woman is the goddess, the feminine womb of man. But the Hindu woman is also the goddess. She's the Hindu Indian feminist womb of the Indian man. Okay? They have 35,000 years ago technology that is superior than modern day technology. They have a war going on. Hindus are physically using flying vehicles to blow up black babies and black women and black men and black elders, and black men are retaliating doing the same thing because they didn't have the hakim or wisdom on either side to find the law of peace, because everything in the universe has a law of polarity. We always have an opposite. We always have a natural enemy in everything, whether it's fire and water, darkness and light, the north and the south, whatever. Know what I mean? And it's the same when it comes amongst the original people. We allowed everybody to rule. Know what I mean? Like the blacks was ruling, not saying no, the recessive gene was like, next that. the brown man want to rule. So the brown man put his thing up. He start ruling. Then eventually the yellow man, like, we want to rule. Then the yellow man start ruling. Then eventually the red man, next that we want to rule. We want to produce art. We should try it like this. Know what I mean? So we had all these cosmologies and all these wars of the gods. Know what I mean? And what would happen is when the Hindus had some high technology, crack technology, and that technology, some of it was so powerful. They had weapons on so-called UFOs that ancient text explained that they had this secret weapon that was so powerful that they said if they was to activate it, it would literally activate every atom in creation, meaning it would destroy the entire universe. It wouldn't destroy us or the earth. It would destroy us physically, the earth physically, the moons, the stars, the sun, the atoms, everything. Just a chain reaction, like the whole universe have to start all over again. Now, the black man, you can't change the nature of the black man. You can't stop God from being God. So it didn't happen, but say hypothetically, some civilization, the white man, the Indians, Chinese, Arabs, say somebody in the future got some type of technology idea. It was like, oh, I could use hydrogen and I could blow up anywhere there's a hydrogen atom, and the universe got hydrogen everywhere. And that's the common element. They spark all the hydrogen and blow everybody up with some type of universal hydrogen. I'm just using this hypothetically. But if they killed every single black man on this planet, what would happen is the very nature of the black man, the mind of man is infinite. It can't be created nor destroyed. It doesn't exist over there or over here. It exists everywhere. It's omnipotent. I mean, it's all powerful. So what would happen is the black man would simply mathematically come back again. It won't be the world like we know it right now. It may be a more improved planet. It may be a lesser planet. It may take, but in our nature, in our reptilian brain, in our subconsciousness, it may be 1,000,000 years or 100 trillion years. But if it's 1,000,000 years or 100 trillion years, that's like a second to the black man. It's like, and we back. We started all over again. All right, let's move back. So now we like, okay, this time, now in their spookism, because they're not vibrating on the 7 mind dimensions of God or the black man, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, soul itself, and the will. They're not on the plane. They're not vibrating on that high frequency. They're thinking on a physical plane. They're acting on an emotional level. I mean, so they looking at it differently. I mean, but that's not how the thoughts of God is not the thoughts of mortals. Like, man, you thinking like your concepts is wrong. Know what I mean? So this is what we did. We experimented with our universe. We experimented with each other for eons. Know what I mean? You know, before there was any 13 tribes of Shabazz. Now, I mean, before there was any brown people, any Arabs, before there was any Chinese or yellow people, before there was any red Indians or Hindus or any of that. Now, I mean, we had all black people on the earth, over 5 billion of us already on this planet. And one of our black gods, a scientist, he had the wrong mathematics. I mean, the wrong lesson. He thought that he can force, there we go with that compulsion. See why we say in this modern day time in the Quran, we got it in a simple form. There's no compulsion in Islam. There's no force in Islam. The message said forced faith is no faith. Now, I mean, that's what the Bible teaches us. Now, I mean, you know, but you find these ministers, captains saying, threatening you. Brother, you better do this. That's the devil's. That's satanic thinking. Like, that's the 10% you listening to. That's not Master Fard Muhammad teaching. The messenger thing is like, brothers that don't want to sell Muhammad speaks, he's like, don't beat them. He's like, man, why would I force somebody to sell Muhammad speaks? If he don't love me and these teachers and his people enough, that we don't want him to sell the Muhammad speaks. We don't even want him in the nation. Let him go about his business. Go do your thing. I mean, we had countless people that strayed away from civilization. I mean, they did that 50,000. They want to go on the Joe. Let them go. Like, yo, you're not going to convince us to go. I mean, but if you want to go, we're not going to wage war against you because you want to go. Go ahead, do your thing. Now, I mean, you know, it's a thing where, you know, the God Shabazz, Granddaddy Shabazz, the message teaches us 66 trillion years ago, you know, he thought he could force everybody to speak the same dialect. So, you know, when he started realizing that his math wasn't coming out right, he tried to force it. He tried to force the circle into the square. So his thing was like, all right, I'm gonna kill everybody. This is a black guy. This black on black violence. White folks ain't in existence yet, according to Message of Elijah Muhammad. This is in Message of the Black Man, Theology of Time, Flag of Islam, 1974. I'm giving you the sources. Now, I mean, the message teaches us that 66 trillion years ago, he drilled a hole into the core of the earth. And he filled it up with high explosives. And he set it off and blew up a portion of the earth. And the mathematics of that killed off a whole tribe, not a little tribe, 1 billion people lost their life. He killed 1 billion black people, men, women, and children. Now, this is for white folks. This is genocide on, it's like 800 million times worse than slavery stuff. This is from the black man doing this. Now, I mean, he blew up part of the earth and formed our equality. He formed our moon, showing that you can't destroy God. But in doing that, he put a sign or a symbol up there for us to learn from in this day and time. Now, I mean, you can't use force or compulsion in Islam. That's not the way of the gods. Now, I mean, you know, so this doesn't give the devil a pass for that little 6,000 year history and the technology and, you know, slavery and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, we went through slavery, suffering, and death. So there's justice for that. But I'm trying to get you to understand this war of the gods. The message teaches us the gods at war is an ancient one. Now, I mean, this, you know, Dr. Yaqub, before there's white people, Dr. Yaqub, his ministers, his cremators, his secretaries and all, they're his nurses, what have you, they're on the island of Pelan or Patmos, 25 miles in circumference out there in the GNC. They're killing our people. I mean, they're feeding the babies to wild animals. I mean, they burning them up, they cremating them. Now, I mean, the penalty, they ain't built no prison houses. You get the death penalty if you break the law and disobey Yaqub. He was an extreme dictator. This big-head black scientist was a dictator. Now, I mean, he was not doing this because white people taught him and he was calling them. No, he taught white people the forgotten technology. His literature, his teachings and lessons was like, this is how you rule over black people. Now, I mean, you go amongst that civilization, you go in their homes, now, I mean, and you start gossiping. You tell them you heard this one talking about that one. You start backbiting. And once you got them arguing, they're going to start fighting. And once they start fighting, they're going to start killing each other. And you come in as the peacemaker and you'll be able to rule both sides. So the European came out and they ruled over Africa and they rule over Africa right now. They came out and they ruled over India, and the European powers rule over India right now. They came out and ruled over China, and the European powers rule over China right now. They rule over Australia, Jamaica, Haiti, the United States, the Native American Indians, the Arabs, the Puerto Ricans, the Taino Indians, as we call them, what have you, the Mexicans. They rule over the black, brown, yellow, and red people. They rule over the fish in the sea. The dogs are on leases. They call them pets now. They put fish in fish bowls. They enslave birds, lock birds up in cages. A bird that's supposed to fly free in nature, they put the bird in the cage. What do you think they're going to do with a black man? They'll put you in a microwave, or they'll put you in an electric chair. They'll inject you with lethal, they'll shoot you up with fentanyl, crack, liquor. They'll put ghost guns inside the hands of other black men, and you be shooting and killing each other. This is all Yaqub's teachings. This is why it's so critical that our people wake up and realize that we are the gods. We are the goddesses. Because when we wake up to the reality of self, we'll start learning who we are. And when you know self, you're going to love self. You're going to want to do for self. You're going to understand, I'm not going to let this devil come in and poison me and have me arguing with another FOI, slandering and stabbing and shooting my people. You know what I mean? And the devil continue to rule right here on the face of the planet Earth before me and my children's children. They still under the devil system because their father and grandfathers and great-grandfathers were still ignorant and naive enough to allow Yaqub's law of divide and conquer to continue to control them. So let us look at this other jewel from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on Hinduism. The messenger goes on to teach us this. And I like to quote him, as I said. He says to us in the Genesis years, on page number 358, he says, on page number 358, he quotes the Bible, the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 9. In that day, and he says in parentheses, this is the day, meaning in that day, he says that means in this day, shall there be one Lord and his name one. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 9. This refers to the time when the true God is made manifest. Before his manifestation, the people worship what they think or what they want to be their God. The devil's teaching is a division of gods, 3 gods into 1 God. The Hindus have many gods. Think about that. He said the Hindus have many gods. The Muslims worship 1 God, Allah. Quote, say, he, Allah, is 1 God. But yet, 99% of the Muslims, talking about Orthodox Muslims, 99% of the Muslims think that Allah is only, quote, a spirit and is not a man. Then they too need to be taught the reality of Allah God. The message teaches that quote in other places also, but I'm coming from the Genesis years here. Now, what is it going to take for us in this modern day and time, understanding all of the ancient war of gods that literally destroyed civilizations, and I mean, they used nuclear weaponry that was so powerful that it literally turned sand into glass. It crystallized ancient temples and ruins and buried cities. I mean, you know, where we're just finding remnants of this ancient war, these ancient civilizations. They're so old and so sophisticated that they simply just don't make sense outside of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the educated guess is the only way this stuff could be on Earth is that there had to be some type of superior beings on Earth, some type of advanced. It couldn't even come from Earth. It had to come from somewhere else. So they say aliens did it. I mean, they rather believe that some type of alien technology came down and taught this to human beings. But when you understand the earth that we stand upon, the Holy Quran teaches us that our weapons of defense is in the crust of the earth. Think about that. If you take regular sand on the beach, you go on the beach, just pick up some sand, and you take a grain that's and magnify, study that sand. That's glass. That's lasers. That's cell phones. That's televisions. That's satellites. That's rockets that could go on. You take these little tiny rocks and you see diamonds and gold and titanium and silver and lead and iron ore. It's all of the elements that make up every machine we have in this modern day and time. I don't care what it is. Now, I mean, let me get the mic up in here for a second. Let's take the microphone. Now, I mean, it's a piece of lodestone in here. It's two pieces of lodestone, one north and one south, positive and negative. Now, I mean, opposites attract. Like it's magnetics in here. It allows sound to travel 1,120 feet per second. But it's not. If I push the button, I mean, the regular copper wires in there, the sand that's been heated up and polished down into glass. Now, I mean, the neon gas in there, the mathematics of it produces light. I mean, you know, but it's not magic. It's natural. It's natural. It's everywhere on Earth. Now, I mean, these are common things. You get regular nitrate and regular. You burn a piece of wood. That's carbon. That's 6 atoms, 6 atoms, 6 atoms. That's carbon in your hand. You know what you could do with carbon? I mean, this is what the devils call a dirty bomb. This is technology that our people knew millions and billions and trillions of years ago. They knew how to make iron weapons. And the message said, when we ran the devils into the caves and hillsides of Europe, we was armed with swords and rifles. 6,000 years ago, we already had rifles. I mean, I know you think Smith and Wesson and stuff, they just was made in, Marco Polo and them just got it from the China. Those were ancient things to black people. Now, I mean, we always had the common sense to use technology. It's just, the first law of learning in science is observation. If the lightning strike a tree and put the tree on fire and you're uneducated, you looking at it and you see rain hit the fire and you see the fire go out from the rain, you're like, man, eventually you know that water just seems to put out fire. But then you'll come across some fires, water won't put it out. And you'll see that some fires you can suffocate. But over time, you'll be like, damn, this burnt tree branch, I could write with this. It's a piece of chalk. This is carbon. You don't call it carbon. You don't know what it is. It's just a burnt stick to you. Know what I mean? But over time, you'll see these things. You'll see the ancient carbon and nitrate explode. Boom. Like, man, you see the volcano erupted. You smell the sulfur. Now, I mean, we learn through trials and errors. We learn from our experience. We learn from our culture. We learn from passing information down genetically and mentally. Now, I mean, our language, the message it teaches us, was mental telepathy. Now, I mean, Sanskrit is an ancient language. Now, I mean, but the meta-neta predates that. I mean, you got ancient teachings and ancient civilizations and ancient writings over in ancient Babylon or Iraq. They was using batteries over there, electricity. I mean, you all around the earth. I don't even want to limit it. Now, I mean, the Olmec civilization, the Mayans, the Aztecs, You name it. Now, I mean, you know, we always had black, brown, yellow, and red gods and goddesses on earth. And when the Europeans studied us, they produced their pantheon of Greek and Roman gods and built their temples and colosseums based on what they seen in our ancient civilizations. Know what I mean? But, you know, the message teaches us the highest form of flattery is imitation. So we not mad. Everybody did that. We you know what I mean? It's like if you see somebody build the Empire State Building in New York, you're going to see everybody trying to build Empire State Buildings in other cities. You're going to see Dubai and say, oh, we got one taller than y'all. That's human nature. Somebody make a black and white film. Somebody going to make a black and white TV. Somebody going to make a color TV, a plasma TV. Somebody turn it on like I got a call on this phone. They be like, somebody going to make an iPhone. Somebody going to make an iPhone 12. Somebody going to make an iPhone 13. Somebody going to make an iPhone 4. It's no limit. That's just... we don't have a nature of satisfaction. That's just the way we keep making pride. That's the way of the gods. That's the sunnah of Allah. I mean, that's the way, that's the path of the God. Know what I mean? But we always believed in one creator of all of creation. The name of that creator, there's so many names we give him, her, it, they, that. But the crystallized conclusion is the black man is God. The mind of man is infinite, capable of accomplishing anything that the brain can conceive. And the spirit is subjected to us, and we're not subjected to that spirit. But there is no mystery God. So let us take and look at that important final element that the messenger explains that's going to end this war between the gods, the war between the blacks and the Hindus, not just the black Dalits, but the war of that Hindu type of mentality that exists all over the planet Earth. Okay. Let me turn to, because I want to quote it. I don't want to just say it. I could just generalize it, paraphrase it, but I want to quote it. It's coming from the Messenger's book, How to Eat to Live, book number 2, 1972. It's on page number 89 of How to Eat to Live, book number 2. All right. The Messenger says, and I'm quoting him, the Jews and Muslims have always been able to settle their differences between each other better than Christians and Muslims. The Meccan white Muslims claim to be first cousins to the black man through Abraham's 2 sons, Ishmael and Isaac. But nevertheless, among the 3 parties now, Muslims, Jews, and Christians, and a 4th party, Hindus, a great conflict arises and is growing to reach a bitter end if wisdom is not found to curb it. So here the messenger is showing, we didn't just go to war with the Hindus. We went to war with the Muslims, the white Muslims murdered the black Muslims, the Muslims murdered the Africans, the Christians murdered the Muslims murdered the Catholics, the Buddhists went to war with the Hindus. This is just how human beings been going for thousands and thousands of years. Now, I mean, we fight over resources and territories and borders and signs and symbols and flags and rituals. My God is better than your God, when we're all the same people on the same planet. And once we wake up and mature as human beings and balance out what we call ma'at, or freedom, justice, and equality, Islam, submission to natural law, clean the planet up, treat each other with respect, now we have a system where it's like we don't use money as the measure of your worth on the planet. We don't have borders that distinguish one nationality from another nationality. We're universal in our Nation of Islam. I think it's like we're under the same sun, moon, and stars. Now, this is the wisdom, the God wisdom of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises is due forever. This is the God wisdom that brings about that balance. So much so, he came from the east to the west. He has a integrated, pure black father that got a pure white mother pregnant. Here's a Muslim man having sex with a Jewish woman to give birth to the savior of the whole world of problems. This so-called mulatto, I mean, this so-called future species, the God that has a polar opposite of the devil, that has the nature of the black and the nature of the white, that has the balance between the black germ and the brown germ, in Master Fard Muhammad, he is giving us the balance because he is part of both people. So the messenger teaches us a great conflict arises and is growing to reach a bitter end. Here's the caveat. If wisdom, the Arabic word for wisdom, fam, is hakim. If wisdom is not found to curb it, I submit to you that the teachings, the original, the raw, the direct teachings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, properly understood, properly taught, and applied, and shared, and put into practice, will bring about a universal government of peace, where when we all can live together. Remember, only the messenger's message can guide you through this age of mess. Until then, the struggle continues, family. Peace. Salam Allah.